Fossil fuels are a limited resource that also cause global warming. Worse, nations that don't produce them depend on those that do, resulting in political upheavals that affect millions. Fortunately, each passing day we come up with alternatives that are cleaner, more efficient, sustainable, and renewable. Let's find out about the 10 most ingenious alternatives now. Amazing! Number 10. Algae. Though a green eyesore on the water, algae's potential was first suggested in 1942 as a source of food and fuel. It wasn't taken seriously till the 1970s, however, when oil prices surged due to the oil embargo, forcing the US government to look into it. Fast forward to today, and algae is now used as a food supplement and as an alternative source of fuel. It's quick to produce, taking about 3 to 6 weeks, on far less land than corn, is biodegradable, relatively harmless to the environment, and can be harvested to produce biodiesel, biobutanol, biogasoline, methane, ethanol, and even jet fuel used by Lufthansa and Virgin Airlines. While several companies create fuel from algae, there's a problem. It's far more expensive to convert wet algal biomass into combustible fuel than just drilling for oil. The US government hoped to achieve price parity with oil by 2018 with tax credits and help from ExxonMobil, but has so far failed. According to ExxonMobil, even with tax credits, algae biofuels won't likely beat the price of oil production till 2043, if at all. Number 9. Carnegie Wave Energy. Australians have taken their love of surfing above the waves to another level, harnessing the power of waves below the surface thanks to Carnegie's CETO technology. The idea is simple. Harness the power of a buoy attached to the sea floor. As waves move it back and forth, it moves a pump that pushes high-pressure water through a pipe to a station on land. That water in turn drives a hydroelectric turbine to generate electricity without any fossil fuels. But that's not all. It can also power a reverse osmosis desalination plant, so CETO can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, produce clean energy and potable water, and all this using limitless wave power. How much power? About 240 kilowatt hours from 1 buoy alone. And because the buoys lie underwater, they won't be damaged by storms. Even better, Carnegie insists that sea creatures won't be harmed, or the occasional surfer, in case you were curious. Number 8. Tidal power. A few other ways of harnessing tidal power include using horizontal axis tidal turbines. These work the same as conventional wind turbines, except that they're underwater and powered by tidal forces. Another option are oscillating hydrofoils, similar to those used in planes. As the blades spin, they power a hydraulic system similar to Carnegie's. There are also sea snake devices made by Scottish company Pellamese Wave Power, Pellamese being Latin for sea snake. These are machines about the size of commuter trains that Portugal is gambling on for energy off the coast of Agucadira. As they bob on the water, their movement activates a hydraulic system that generates electricity for the national grid. For their national grid, China is looking at bridges, more specifically an elevated road that spans the 60 to 100 kilometer coast between Xiamen and Shantou at the Bohai Sea. Beneath this road will lie 4,000 turbines that will turn on tidal power, each of which is expected to produce up to 15 gigawatts of power, more than enough for over 10 million homes. Number 7. Osmotic power. Osmotic power is generated when salt water meets fresh water, something that happens in nature when rivers flow to the sea. Watching osmosis occur back in 1973 inspired Professor Sidney Loeb to put the theory into practice when he saw the Jordan River flow into the Dead Sea. His solution was the reverse electrodialysis heat engine, but there's no need to get too technical. Put simply, you need to put something where they meet to keep them apart. This membrane is semi-permeable, meaning that some fresh water passes through to the salt water, but not vice versa. The saltwater chamber increases in volume, creating what's called osmotic pressure, which causes a turbine to spin, producing electricity. Statkraft, a company in Norway, became the first to open an osmotic power plant in 2009 and is expected to produce 1,700 terawatt hours per year. Number 6. Solar and wind power. Why use solar panels when you have to deal with the night, bad weather, and cloudy days? By putting a solar array in space, we can have unlimited access to solar power, which can be transmitted to homes in much the same way as cable channels. This is why SpaceX, a private company, is currently vying for the right to put up such panels into space. An alternative is to replace all roads with solar panels designed to take the wear and tear of cars. This idea actually received a grant from the US Department of Transportation. It got lambasted as being unfeasible, however, so the French, Dutch, and Chinese made their own. For those who find both projects too ambitious, there's quantum dot coating, nano-built solar dots stuck to glass with the potential to turn any window or piece of glass into solar panels. Moving away from solar, there's Shearwind Invelox's funnel, resembling a horn of plenty. The company claims that their funnels can be powered by as little as 2 mph winds, yet produce up to 6 times more energy than conventional wind turbines. Admittedly, they've yet to prove it. Same with the Typhoon turbine, a Japanese take on traditional wind turbines which don't work in heavy winds. Supposedly, the Typhoon turbine can operate in violent winds since it uses 3 vertical blades around the central rod to regulate its speed. The inventor believes that by deploying his invention throughout the country, a single typhoon should power all of Japan for up to 50 years. Number 5. Human power. While pedal power has been around for a while, foot power is new thanks to Pavagen, a company that harnesses the power of footsteps. Pavagen produces tiles you walk on, but what makes it different from other tile makers is that its devices utilize the kinetic power of your footsteps to generate energy. A single footstep is enough to power a small LED light for about 20 seconds, but that's not all. Those using the Pavagen app can convert their footsteps into digital currency to collect reward points or donate to some charity. It can also track consumer patterns and tell how many people are in a certain area. Washington, D.C. was the first to install Pavagen tiles on its DuPont Circle sidewalk. Pedestrians do their thing while powering 68 generators, enough to light the miniature park. The company's founder, Patrick Davies, believes that his invention can be used for entire cities and boasts that his company is at the forefront of the footfall energy harvesting market. Before I reveal the next example, I'd like to remind you to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. We upload amazing fact-filled list videos daily. Also, make sure to click that bell icon to stay updated, or you'll regret missing out on some amazing knowledge that could have filled your brain. Now let's get back to it. Number 4. Lava geothermal generators. Iceland already uses geothermal energy from its many steam vents, but in 2014 it accidentally dug directly into a magma chamber. Hawaii did this first, but they plugged it up. Iceland instead decided to harness the heat, generating 60 megawatts of power, and is thinking of exporting not just the excess energy, but the technology to do the same for other volcanic areas of the world. Though nothing to do with lava, I found this clip so cool I had to include it. It's a spring made of nickel titanium, also called nitinol. It's a shape memory alloy, meaning it can be shaped into anything when cold, but reverts to its original shape when hot. In 1973, a simple model heat engine was made using this type of nitinol wire to generate mechanical energy from hot and cold heat sources called the Banks engine. It was only used to produce straight and circular motion for children's toys and hasn't yet been developed further. Its inventor, Ridgway Banks, said that nitinol has an infinitely higher specific work potential than bimetallic materials, so who knows what they might eventually come up with. Number 3. Turbulent Micro Hydro Power Plant. Turbulent came up with a simple whirlpool turbine that can power dozens of homes using the power of rivers and canals without harming fish. Simply dig a trench next to a river, insert the turbine, then let water and gravity do its thing. So long as the water doesn't stop or freeze over, a single turbine could generate 15 to 100 kilowatts of power for a dozen homes, perfect for undeveloped areas. For backpackers and hikers, there's a portable version called eNomad's eStream, a generator powered by rivers and streams. Simply stick it in a moving body of water and its rotating blades will juice up most USB-connected devices. After all, who can possibly enjoy the wilderness without Facebook? Completely unrelated, but no less cool, is the Windbelt electric wind-powered generator. For those who hate rotating turbines but love the wind. Seriously though, it's perfect for hard-to-get areas such as parts of Haiti. Windbelts harness wind energy through belts that vibrate instead of turn. Requiring less materials and taking up less space, it's far cheaper at around $2 to $5 for one that powers a light bulb and produces as much as 10 times more energy efficiency. Number 2. Batteries. The problem with solar and wind power lies in the fact that these sources of energy tend to be generated when they aren't always needed. And since the energy has to be used as soon as it's created a problem illustrated by the duck curve. So over the course of the day, the timing imbalance between peak demand and renewable energy production means we need to look for ways to store the power created when it's not needed. California's solution are zinc-bromine batteries called flow batteries, which store energy produced by solar panels. The aim is to store 1.3 gigawatts of energy by 2020, enough to power 100 million LEDs. The problem is that they're still too expensive for most. Researchers at Harvard University hope to get around this issue by using organic liquids to create organic MEGAFLOW batteries that store vast amounts of electricity through ion exchange, enough to last 10 years. For some, that's far too long, but there's hope in glass. John B. Goodenough, co-creator of the lithium-ion battery, teamed up with researcher Maria Helena Braga to come up with something better, a glass electrolyte battery. Though still in the experimental phase, it can allegedly be recharged in minutes, can explode, and last far longer. Another potential source for batteries lies in weed. Seriously! Turns out that hemp is far cheaper and performs even better than graphene. It's touted as the best material for a super battery called a supercapacitor. Unfortunately, graphene is expensive to produce, but hemp isn't, meaning it could be commercially available much sooner, purely for energy uses, of course. Number 1. Windmills. Texas prides itself on big things, but researchers at the University of Texas Arlington bucked that trend with micro windmills. Each windmill is made of flexible nickel alloy and is so small that 10 can fit on a single grain of rice. The hope is that you can one day power your phone and other devices by simply walking and letting each micro windmill do their thing. How close is this to happening? Taiwanese company WinMems already bought exclusive rights to the commercial application, so keep your fingers crossed. But if micro isn't your thing, there's the BAT. It's basically the love child of a Goodyear blimp and a turbine, hence its name, Buoyant Airborne Turbine. Helium gets it up high, as much as 2,000 feet into the air, where there's more wind, hence more power, but with less risks of hitting birds. It's ideal for rural areas where infrastructure is scant, such as some parts of Alaska where a test run powered 12 homes for 18 months. Who knows what other amazing sources of renewable energy are just waiting for us around the corner? Do you have your own suggestions to add to this list? And which ones did you think were the smartest? Let me know in the comments section down below, and thanks for watching.